We're good. NSC Fan TV. I'm here with Emma, and Emma has opinions. Emma has facts. I'm sorry. Emma has facts, not opinions. So Emma, start us in. So before we jump to the facts, let's get some impressions. Tell us. So this is the first time in the stadium. Tell us how that felt.
I think that was great. I think I walked up here from Midtown, and it really felt like it was part of the community. It was you saw a lot of people out, people from houses, just greeting you as you were walking past. People chanting on the way, people getting drunk in bars all over. So I think this is going to be a great contribution to the community, and I'm really happy. Maybe the fifth major sport in this country. That's.
We've overtaken hockey.
Oh, you have? I was not aware.
I wasn't either.
No, I'm kidding. So there's a very good vibe around here. The stadium is, there might be some health hazards as Emery was talking about. But
yeah, we watched a guy take a header, and he was not doing well afterwards. we were suffering from. We walked in, and I was like, I'm going to suffer from vertigo. And then we watched a guy after the national anthem effectively just fall, just like it looked like he did a dive or something. It was amazing and terrifying. It was like that could have been me. That was exactly what I was worried was going to happen.
Yeah. Apart from that, that's kind of everywhere. I think the stadium has a good feeling to it. The idea of having three sides really filled like human walls, and the fourth side being more of the commercial side. I get it. It gave a good hugging feeling around it. Definitely it's a very big improvement over being at a stadium that's kind of rented out.
Yeah, and Nissan Field is not a stadium for watching soccer. So so let's get to the facts.
All right.
So Emma had promised me that he wouldn't be very negative.
No, I did not promise that.
I asked him to not be negative.
Okay.
No, I actually brought on. So Emma, so first off,
I'm gonna have one very positive thought and one very negative thought.
Say one very positive and one very negative. Which one's first?
You tell me.
I want to. Let's start with the negative. Let's start with the negative. We'll end with the positive. This is as they call the shit sandwich, and where it's like and we give you a positive. Here's a good thing. Here's the really negative thing. Oh, that's right. Here's the positive thing. So let's get to the shit part of the sandwich.
Okay. I think Hani Mukhtar is actively hurting this team at this point. I think the way that he is slowing down play, the way he is missing open passes, the way that he is not contributing to pressing is ultimately worse than the value they could get for him if they were to trade him for two average players. I have the proof.
That right there is some very, very controversial opinion. I am ready to hear some factitudes about to back this up.
He has the lowest accuracy of passes in the whole team. He has 3 accurate crosses that actually reach targets over 11 he's attempted in this game. He has won only 3 ground duels over 8 he's attempted. He's lost the possession today 26 times. Now I'm aware that
that's kind of how forwards go, right? Like that's like if a midfielder was doing that would be a problem. Given the fact that the whole point for him is that he needs to be running at the defense, those sorts of duels.
So look,
he was getting triple teamed.
Look at CJ, right? He does have a less accurate passing, but he has won more ground duels, more aerial duels, and he's only lost possession 13 times. He's won more fouls than Mukhtar, and he has less offsides. And he has not been dribbled past even once, while if you go to Mukhtar, he is basically non-existent in defense.
So one thing's for
I
sure
told
is that,
you.
is
I
that-
had warned you.
Wow. So this was really not just negative, but very like eye-openingly controversial. One thing's for sure is that Sapong. A positive thing about Sapong's game is that he is so disruptive of their defense when they hold, and that in fact was one of the things that created one of the chances for us. Was that he was able.
I think two of the chances.
Two of the chances. Okay. Well, one really stood out to me, and I even wrote it in my little notebook. And this is a pretty consistent thing from Sapong. Doesn't generally get dribbled by. Very good at being able to poach from them. Mukhtar maybe doesn't quite have that as one of his points of emphasis,
right.
but given where he plays on the field, maybe that should be something that we should be thinking about.
One play that really stood out to me was at the very end. Everybody was concentrating on the left side. I think I can't remember who it was who got the ball. I think it was who was substituted at the end.
Anunga came on
yes,
at the end?
Anunga,
Yeah.
exactly. So Anunga received the ball. He came out wide on the very far right hand. And he was completely isolated.
Yes,
And
completely.
two people came out to him, and he didn't even manage to get the cross in because he didn't have anywhere to go.
Right.
And Mukhtar was the person who gave the ball to him, and Mukhtar completely dived out of that.
So he didn't follow up and didn't support.
Yeah, and that is in a nutshell what he's doing for this team right now. I think, in my opinion.
So that's what the whole point of having us having these interviews is for, is to hear these opinions and to get them out and to let us evaluate them in retrospect and to hear about them. So and thank you for feeling free to share this with us.
Yeah, no, I went last for a reason, you know. I didn't want anybody around here to burn me.
That's exactly it. Careful. I
do have.
So let's hear the positive thing. So
Right.
I asked for the negative thing. I'm so glad we're going to get to the positive thing.
Right. The positive thing, I think there's a player who, if Gary Smith was to actually play the 3-5-2 that he is kind of building, and he was to fully commit to it, because right now I think it's in a hybrid state, which is understandable, right? He's moving to a new system. Right now he doesn't use the wings as much as he could, being that you have two players who are completely out there. But I think Danny Lovitz today was an incredible performance. I am pulling out the stats right now. He had 75 touches, 83% accuracy, with 3 key passes, 6 accurate long balls out of 9. He also had shot on target. He dribbled. He won ground duels. He won aerial duels. In general, he was just a very good contribution to widening the field, which is what you need if you're gonna play that system, right?
And he added one other element to his game today. He took a very heavy shot with his right foot today.
Right?
Usually it's lefty Lovitz,
Right.
but a big heavy shot with his righty today.
Yeah. So I think if Gary Smith wants to play this system, which I don't disagree with necessarily, he has to commit to it. He has to tell his midfielders the first option has to be the wing. You don't look for the middle, you don't look for the depth, you look for the wing. Because the one thing that the 5 midfielders does for you is that it widens the field, it forces their midfielders to commit out and to shift out, and that's going to open for insertions from, the 10 or the forwards. So, yeah, I think Danny Lovitz can be a very good integral part of it. I don't know. What did you think of that?
So I think that that's right. I think that the question for us was that we had a really good answer for this last season, was that whenever we could play this way, we could play with a balanced left and right, because Johnston could play on that right and provided the speed and the intelligence and the field awareness over there on the right. The question here is, do we have someone who can play in the midfield on the right that can do it? I think that we've seen Alex Muyl be able to have the stamina to be able to do it, but my consistent concern with Muyl is that his touch is his motor is MLS plus, his touch is a little MLS minus still, and so there's just a question as to, like, if we are going to commit to this, what's it look like with a balance? That's been my question consistently. If we still had Johnston, I think that I would be completely with you. I'm just unsure whether or not we've got the personnel to be able to do that consistently.
I understand that. I've seen a few teams where does that not evenly.
So interesting.
Right? So you can have a team where you're building on one side. Doesn't need to be completely like of course when we look at a scheme of the way the football is played, soccer is played, you want to see some symmetry, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily need to be it, right? You can have someone like Mukhtar, someone like Leal go over to the right side to build where Mill's not able to, and have Lovitz be the counterpart. You can play a 3-5-2 on defense, and you can play something much, kind of resembling a 4-4-2 or a 4-3-3 forward.
Yeah, so these unbalanced offenses are a thing, and in fact, New England sometimes played with this with Tajon Buchanan way out on the right side. They would often play with these unbalanced offenses. So we have seen that, and we've seen clearly what New England was doing. We've seen teams have some success with it. So maybe here at the end, maybe a question as to what do you think that you're going to expect? What are you expecting for the next couple games?
I'm expecting exactly the same. I don't think Gary Smith has, habituated us to much change. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that this team can grow into the roles that are newly assigned to them. But I think there needs to be a little more commitment, right? If this is the 11th, the 11 people that are going to carry this team, these need to be used, all 11 of them, considering especially Gary Smith's known reticence to making many changes, which I don't want to attack, but if these are the 11 people, you need to use them, all of them.
So Smith is clearly a conservative coach, and so now the question here is how do we use them and how do we develop them?
Right. Another thought that can be followed up from this is if Gary Smith is going to be the coach next year, and if this is kind of the skeleton of this year, maybe there's a case, and I know you've had thoughts on this in the past, to be made for having a target for the transfer market that is finally not a forward.
Yeah, given the fact that now again we've already filled our three designated player spots.
Right.
The question is whether or not there's one that we want to keep. I have opinions about that, but yeah, the transfer market will be open, and maybe someone from one of these European squads that are looking for a change of pace, or from a South American squad looking for a change of pace. We should maybe be thinking about it. But the other possibility is that we do have two solid designated players. We've got a little bit of a disagreement on that front in terms of his play today, one of their play today. But one of the thoughts could be, look, are there folks out there that we could either add in, or could we be looking at developing the defensive or the defensive elements of our team and being able to throw folks more forward whenever we've got those chances. Because one of the things that we saw last season was that we were so confident in our defense was that we could just throw folks forward and be able to sort of attack with abandon.
Yeah, I mean, 3-5-2 is notoriously a difficult module for transitions, right? The transitions in 3-5-2 are harder to make than in a 4-4-2 because you don't have as many fixed positions, especially the three midfielders just don't quite run in a straight line all the time. So it takes a lot of chemistry there, and the fact that Gary Smith has just now started playing with it will take some time to absorb it. So I don't think that's necessarily a question of personnel, but it's a question of tactic. And
consistently playing in that.
Right, exactly. I think my question for you was, do you see anyone who could be a designated player, not necessarily, not the designated player, but a designated player that could be filling that right wing spot for Nashville?
there'd been talk about Shaq Moore being available. Look, I mean, he's such a great athlete and such a person of talent and knowledge of the game. But who knows what sort of availability he's going to have. But you know what? I think that we should play with the team we've got. We've seen so much improvement from so many players. I think that we should play with the team that we've got. And looking at greener pastures should happen after the season's over.
Right.
That's my view.
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily contradicting you. I love Alex Miller, as I love anyone who leaves his heart on the pitch. That was always my thing. But I guess where my question was, I wanted to see a signal from the leadership of this team that they were committing to this kind of play with the wings out.
Again, I think that watching Alex play that and means that they're going to try to develop him in that position. And I think that watching the fact that we see Taylor Washington in the rotation means that we're going to be developing him. And I think that those are two folks that have got the athletic talent to be able to do it. They just both of them just need one little level up in terms of their fine touch and a little bit of field awareness maybe from Wheel. But in terms of where their heart, I mean, both of those guys have got hearts the size of horses. So I mean, that's one of the things that I like to see.
Hopefully that is not considered a disease.
No, that's not a disease. So that's a sort of a little athletic analogy. So any closing thoughts?
I'm going to ask you.
Oh no. Okay. I don't have opinions.
I think Philadelphia is almost a scarecrow for this team at this point, and it was kind of symbolic and cathartic to go through the first game at this stadium with them, and I think there's only up to go from here.
Yeah, I think that I really wanted to the scarecrow is right, the Pagliacci, right? I wanted to get after that scarecrow today. Glad to see us be able to put a penalty away against Blake. That was so important to us. In some ways, that was kind of like exercising a demon. It wasn't one of the penalty takers from the playoff game, and in some ways, that did take a little bit of the.
Guess what? Guess what? It wasn't.
So in this regard, please for us to score a pen against Philly Union, and even that, and to watch Blake throw that tantrum of sorts after the yellow, just was that much more delicious. And we really were putting them in trouble.
Yeah,
plenty of times.
I think if it was 3-1 at the end of the first half, we wouldn't have had any problems with it.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, Emma, thanks.
Thank you very much, and welcome to Quixotes Park.
Yeah, Quixotes Park. All right, thanks, Emma.